Yay! Alright, that was weak, but I'm going to go back to it. If I don't, pretty soon I'm going to have to land. This is my 5th day in a row at Seminole-Lake, my first trip here ever. The first 4 days were better than this, but I decided to not complicate things with a camera till today, so you're not seeing a good sample here of how the week has been. Most of the forecasts are calling for mostly cloudy skies this afternoon. More clouds than were in the last 4 days forecast, so could be challenging. I don't know if I'll do much cross-country today. Upwind, it's already very cloudy. I kind of hesitate to go downwind in case the cloudy conditions are moving in with the wind and I get cut off from home. If I can get up, I may just see just how far upwind I can go in this mostly cloudy sky. Fortunately, the wind isn't terribly strong. Both of my computers right now say it's only 7 miles per hour. Well, I finally climbed up to about almost 3,000 feet, and I'm cashing in that altitude to move downwind a little where the clouds look better. It looks less cloudy. If I can get this, if there's a climb under this cloud, I'll be okay. If not, I might can try one more cloud before I'll have to turn around. We'll see.
We're about 2 miles north of East Factory Med, over the shoreline.
I heard a report that cloud base is only maybe 3,500 feet, so not much altitude to work with. I still have the field made with about 1,800 feet. but I'm desperate. May not even be able to climb. Upwind to that small cloud that was building and found a respectable 3-knot climb. Look right there. You may not be able to see. One of the clouds is raining straight upwind. So I may keep moving downwind, but staying within reach of home. Well, I decided to get a little bit outside of comfortable reach from Seminole, but I am right over Quest. It's on the sectional as Sheets, but West Soaring Center for hang gliders operates here. If I have to, I can land here. There's also the Osborne Field just a mile or two west of Quest. That might be a better option in a sailplane, not having to contend with hang glider traffic. But I've just found a thermal a little downwind of those two airstrips, so we'll see what happens. Well, I have Seminole Lake made by 1,100 feet now. So if I wanted, I could reach it comfortably. Big hole between here and there, though. But I'm going to mosey back that way. I really don't want to risk landing out today. I went crosswind a couple of miles to avoid that hole. Now I'm flying some clouds around the edge of the hole. Seems to be working okay. I've headed back toward Seminole Lake, and this time I'll see how far upwind I can go. Watching out for rain. This thing doesn't fly real well when the wings have water running over them. You'll see. Well, I just found what was a decent climb, but after a circle or two, it started dropping rain. Put little raindrops all over the wing, and the glider started flying like a pig, and I quit being able to climb. So, let's go somewhere drier. By the way, I'm being very conservative today, flying McCready 0. I have no expectations of racing. I haven't declared a task. Just this will probably be my last day of this trip. I want to land a little earlier than normal and break down and pack up the room and everything. So this is just a leisurely flight. See you in a few. So much for avoiding the rain. I just flew into more without seeing it. It's humid and shady enough up here. The wings had not dried off from before. It was only a minute or two ago, though. Flight computer can't understand why I'm flying so fast, but it doesn't know about raindrops on the wing. I'm aborting this upwind leg and turning toward Seminole Lake right now. Flight computer says I have it made with about 1,800 feet, but with all this water on the wings, I won't get there that high without finding favorable air between here and there. Well, at least there's no rain right here for the moment. It'll stay that way. I can circle here, maybe dry the wings off. I think that helped. Seems to be flying like a dry glider again. So I'll resume the upwind push. I'm now just 4.5 miles crosswind east of Seminole-Lake. Seem to be on a bit of a line or a little street here. That's nice, especially when going upwind with weak thermals. At least cloud base has risen. I'm at 3,500 feet here and still well below cloud base. Looks like a nice little street over there, so I'll veer that way, try to connect with it. Well, that street gave me one nice climb. I stopped and circled, had a 3 or 4 knot climb. Not working so great right now, but we'll see. I'm about 2 miles from passing directly over Wallaby Ranch, which is another popular hang gliding place in the area. So I'm on the lookout for hang gliders or one of their ultralight tugs. Cloud base has risen nicely. I've been in the air almost an hour and a half, and base seems to have risen about 1,000 feet. And I just saw someone turning almost straight ahead of me. Not sure what they're flying though. It looked more like an airplane than anything. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. I hope to find a climb here. I did indeed find a nice climb under that cloud. Here it is. Hopefully I'll give you a good shot of Wallaby Ranch here off the wingtip. There it is right under the wing. I'm not sure if the field of view reaches that low, but I am practically right over the field. Climbing at 6 knots momentarily on the averager. Actually, I've averaged 6 knots the whole time in this thermal so far, which is only a circle or 2. And there's Wallaby. I'll really crank it over for you right there. As you can see, there's less upper cloudiness now. I think that's helping. And I'm going to keep pressing upwind. I'm about 16 miles from home. Arrival altitude there is 2,100 feet. It's looking good enough now. I'm willing to get out of glide range of home. I think I can get back, but every time I circle, I'll look back toward home and make sure it's not getting closed in that direction. So we'll see how far I can go. I probably won't go farther than 40 or 50 miles upwind at most, and then turn around and come back. looking like a little bit better day than it did an hour ago. I'm 22 miles from Seminole Lake, have it made with about 1,300 feet, but right now, slightly ahead and off my right wing down there is a private grass strip, so it's good to know. The street I was under was working well. It just either made a jog or broke, and that plane I saw circling earlier was a sailplane. I've kept catching glimpses of him ahead of me. He bugged out off of the street a few miles back, and next time I caught a glimpse of him, he was probably 1,000 feet lower than I was. I stayed on the street. At least I think that was the same glider. I thought he was headed to this cloud I'm flying under now, but I no longer see him, so I'm going to resume the street. It appears that it did just jog over half a mile or a mile. And that's a good thing, because right now I'm under the westernmost shelf of Orlando's Class B airspace. As long as I stay below 6,000 feet, I'm under it. But if the street had not jogged, it would have taken me awfully close to the next layer of their airspace, which goes down to 4,000 feet. I don't want to have to stay below that, so I'll go around it. Well, I've just turned around. I'm 33 miles upwind of Seminole Lake. I haven't had to turn in, I don't know, 10 or 20 miles. This street has been that good. A little zigzaggy at times, but it's done the job, so now I hope it's good all the way back. This is unusual for me, flying over such urban terrain. This is the area south of Orlando you're looking at here. I'm flying northwest, so you're looking northeast. The reason I turned around back there, by the way, was in a little less than 10 miles I was going to run into a hard wall of restricted airspace, and the cloud street sort of looked anemic between where I turned and there anyway, so why press on into poor air? So I just turned around while the street was still good. It'll be interesting to see how long it is before I have to circle again. Well, it's been 20 miles since I turned. I'm a little higher than I was when I turned, and I still haven't circled. So I don't know, it's been 30 or 40 miles since I've circled. Good times. See you in a few. Well, I'm 25 miles or so past the turn now, and the street appears to have ended, at least for 2 or 3 miles. I'm trying to reconnect with it here. Still haven't had to circle, but I'm losing altitude now that I'm off the street. So it remains to be seen whether this street will be healthy enough to regain my lost altitude without having to circle. And I noticed to the left here, a little more high cloud has developed, and out in the distance it looks like the ground is a good bit more shaded than it is over here, so I may not go too much farther in this direction before I turn around because of that. I'm currently only 7 miles from Seminole Lake with an arrival altitude there of 2,800 feet. Well, after 35 miles beyond turning around, I finally had to stop and circle. Made 3 circles. Flew a few more miles. I didn't like the way it was looking in that direction, so I've turned around. I'm going to fly right back down the same street again if it's still here. I'm going to stay in the area where there's more sun. I was flying into an area with a lot of high cloud layer, pretty thick layer. So that leg I flew was 35 to 40 miles. I'll turn around and see if I can do it again. I have turned around, so I'm headed southeast again. I'm circling pretty early on this leg, but I've turned on the camera to give you a good view of the area. I'm just 6 miles east of Seminole Lake. If you knew where to look, you'd see it right about there, I think. That's looking west. I'm going to come around and look at a lot of the suburbs of Orlando here, and some of the larger lakes. And there, straight off the nose, is downtown Orlando. Disney World's in there somewhere. And then you come back around to the west, and it is much more rural. hoping to climb back up here and then make it a few more miles upwind to reconnect with my street. Talk to you in a few. Well, I'm not sure what has happened here, whether I've jumped to a different, I've clearly jumped to a different street. I don't know whether my original one broke up or I just got disoriented. I don't know. But I'm heading to this one and we'll see how it works. Well, I've gone 10 or 15 miles back upwind since turning. I'm back on a street. I don't know that it's the first one I was on. I ended up moving 3 or 4 miles crosswind of my previous track, and previously the outbound and return tracks were right on top of each other, so I don't think the street moved that much in that little time. But now I appear to be merging back into my previous track, so maybe there was a split in the street and I've just taken a different fork. But the street is again fairly decent. I think if it holds good, I won't have to turn for quite a while again. Good stuff. I'm about to fly over Wallaby for the 3rd time. I see a hang glider low. Looks like he's setting up an approach for landing, but that's the only one I see in the air so far. I'm keeping my eyes open though. Good cloud here. Nice. It's good because the street's kind of broken along the way from here. Now I see a hang glider. A few miles upwind of Wallaby, climbing high near cloud base. See if I can join him. Oh, I see 2 hang gliders. I don't know that I actually need to circle though, but let me give you a shot of him in case I didn't give it to you already. He's off the right wing high up there. Probably hard to see with the fisheye effect of this camera. Cool. Well, I'm thinking now I may try to push it and do a little more than I planned earlier. At this point in the trip, I've flown 4 days for a total of exactly 800 OLC miles. It'd be kind of fun to say 1,000 in 5 days. Right now, the flight computer says I have 127 OLC miles from this flight so far. That's a pretty slow speed because I've been in the air about 3 hours now. But I'm 28 miles from Seminole-Lake, so if I just turned around and glided back, I would have 155. So 45 on top of that, which means if I can go about 23 more in this direction, I don't think I can, I'll hit that airspace, but if I can add 45 miles to just going back, I could do it. So 73 more miles in whatever's left of the day, with it being about 3:15. I don't know. Don't know if I can do it, but I may try. Well, the line of this street is more favorable than it was last time I was headed this way. It's more to the right, more westerly, so I'll be able to go deeper before the restricted airspace forces me to turn around. Still may not be able to go deep enough to have 200 miles by just flying back home, but this is currently my 4th significant length leg, and OLC will give you your best 6, so the leg back will be 5. I can extend it beyond the airfield and then come back for a 6th leg, and so if I end up turning around only having 180 in the bag, by going 10 more miles past Seminole Lake, that'll add 20. 10 out, 10 back. That should do it, and I think I will be able to do at least that, if the day holds together. It is getting late-ish, so we'll see. Talk to you in a bit. Well, I've just made my turn. I came within about a mile of the restricted area. That's probably closer than I'd really like to get. OLC distance, 145 miles, 48 miles from home. So that should give me about 193 just by making it home. I can extend it a little beyond that and come back, and ought to be relatively easy to do if the day doesn't fall apart in the next hour. So look at that nice street. I've been running fast under that street. I hope it's good all the way back, but I'll take it while I can, however long it lasts. I think I'm about to make a similar jog that I made on the way out over to that street, because the one straight ahead is not looking as good. That mimics the track I see from the previous leg. Cloud base has risen really nicely, by the way. I would estimate it now as being somewhere around 5,600 feet. That's 2,300 feet higher than it was when I launched 3.5 hours ago. It's now 3:45. I'll have about 193 or 4 OLC miles if I just make it home, and the flight computer says I have home made by 750 feet. So I want to add 10 miles on top of that. So a couple thousand. I need 2,000, 2,500 feet more altitude to have over 200 OLC miles. I haven't had to turn in so long I don't even remember now, so I'm probably going to get close to that much altitude just out of this nice fat section of street here. Though I'm going to lose a good bit going across to it, I'm afraid, like I did on the previous leg. Good times, a lot of fun. I did not expect this good a day from looking at the forecast, or from even looking at the sky before we launched. When I launched, it looked pretty poor, and it was tough to get up, so you never know how things will change. This time for the better. Okay, I just made it across that blue area to this next little street. My arrival altitude has decreased by a couple hundred feet. That just says there was more sink than lift in that stretch, which does not surprise me. And I'm a few miles, 3 or 4 miles from where I met the 2 hang gliders earlier. And that was a really good spot. I hope it still is. By my estimate, I'm 1,500 feet below cloud base now. Well, so far this street hasn't been as good as I hoped, but I have gained, I've flown 5, 6, 7 miles, gained a couple hundred feet, and haven't had to circle, so it's still pretty good. My final glide, arrival altitude keeps improving, a couple thousand feet more, and I think I'll have the 200 in the bag. Still, I'm 13 miles from home now, so maybe I'll pick up that couple thousand in these 13 miles. Probably 1,200 feet or so below cloud base right now, 4,300 MSL. I wasn't paying attention, I was flying too fast in that lift. I am almost a beam home. It's 5.5 miles off my left wing. That's west of me. I'm extending this leg out a little to make sure I get the 200. I'll fly a few miles on top of that too, because I've seen the flight computer's estimate of OLC distance be a little different than what the OLC website itself calculated after the flight. So I've seen it go both ways, I think. So I'll just add 4 or 5 miles, make sure I'm good. I really wish I knew how far I've flown since I last circled. I'm pretty sure it's been over an hour. The entire almost 50-mile leg back I have not circled, and I had not circled, I don't know, 10 or 15 miles at least before I made that turn. And I just about have enough altitude now to complete the 200 without circling. So my bet is that by the time I land, I won't have to circle again in this flight, most likely. Won't jinx myself. And I'm guessing I will have ended up flying 80 to 100 of those OLC miles in one stretch here at the end of the flight without circling. Crazy. Crazy good. Okay, I think I pretty much have it in the bag. I just flew off the end of that nice street. Here's Orlando, the suburbs anyway. I am flying north, just about outside the westernmost shelf of Orlando's Class B airspace. The bottom of that shelf is about 1,000 feet above me though, so I'm not that close to the airspace itself. There is Lake Apopka. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but I just looked at it on the map. Pretty large lake just west of Orlando. I feel like I could just keep going. Like this street, I could get on this street and run another 10, 20 miles. Who knows? I feel like I'm being gluttonous at this point though, and I'd rather not break down in the dark. So I think I'll just keep cranking up the McCready setting. I have it at 2 knots now, and hasten the end of this flight, even though I could do more with it. It's been a great week. 5 days in a row of excellent soaring here at Seminole-Lake near Orlando. Talk to you in a few minutes. Alright, I'm finally turning around. 14 miles from home. Have it made. I just barely reached this street, and I'm not even going to run down up it anymore. Just turn around in this good spot and head back. I have home made with about 2,000 feet to spare. And my bet is that number will get better on the way back because of this street, even though I'm about to cross a big blue gap of 4 or 5 miles. So I may just keep cranking the McCready up so I don't arrive back at the field stinking high, and just arrive and land. And it's been fun. What fun. Wow. McCready 2. I may have to go ahead and bump that up. Good grief. Flight computer shows, whoops, gotta plug in a battery. Be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. I don't have a USB power port in this glider, so I carry a little portable pack with me that my XC Soar phone here. The battery's pretty good. It lasts a little over 4 hours is what it just gave me today, which is not bad, running pretty bright and with GPS, but it's what I'm using for calculations of several things. I like having two. This is CU Mobile. This is XC Soar. Some things they do a little differently. But what I was about to say is XC Soar says I currently have 203 OLC miles made, and it may take a few miles on this leg for that number to go up because it's having to discard what it currently considers my 6th best leg. So at some point I expect the 203 to go up. I'm 11 miles from home. I don't expect the number to go up 11 miles unless I overfly the field by a few miles, which I don't plan to. I think I'm going to make the 200 without having to do that. Oh, the cloud I'm headed toward is showing signs of dying, but that doesn't matter. OLC distance is now 209 miles, so this leg is counting now, and that's more than enough to make me feel comfortable that I'll have 200. And I see a sailplane circling under this cloud. I will not join him. I'm just going to fly on in and land. Let's go McCready 4 knots. I'm still pretty high. About 5. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot to adjust this. I'll go ahead and put it at 5. Go and see what it says. At 5 it says I arrive at 1,800 feet, but I'm only 3 miles out now, so I can't burn a whole lot of altitude in 3 miles. But let's speed up and burn a little. Go full negative flaps. Haven't done that today yet. And there's the field, just off my nose to the right. Ground speed 120 miles per hour. Slightly into the wind. Airspeed 105 knots. Flaps. Undercarriage. Set my speed. Trim it. Air brakes, make sure they still work. They work very well. Look around, I don't see anyone. Seminole-Lake traffic, glider Echo Alpha, downwind for runway 18, Seminole-Lake. Seminole-Lake traffic, glider Echo Alpha, turning final, runway 18, Seminole-Lake. That's it. It says 215 miles, 4 hours and 15 minutes. What fun. What a good way to end a trip. Thanks for flying with me.